What if AI disrupting your industry was the best thing that could happen to you? I know that sounds crazy and it sounds impossible to believe, but after coaching many overachievers and many perfectionists, I've discovered something. And the thing that I've discovered is that the people most terrified of AI taking their jobs are the same ones who've been secretly miserable in those jobs for years. You've built your entire identity around being needed, being the expert, and being indispensable. But what if that's exactly the thing that's keeping you trapped? What few are discussing is what happens to human identity when career achievements are not at the center of it anymore. In part 1 of this AI and the Overachiever series, I shared non-career related things to start investing in now to make you less vulnerable to AI disruption. But knowing you need to change and actually doing it are two different things. So today I'm giving you 3 questions that will unlock that transformation. Questions that most overachievers spend their entire lives avoiding. Dario Amodei, CEO of Anthropic, the AI company behind Claude, he recently warned that AI is getting better than humans at almost all intellectual tasks. And Microsoft has cut 6,000 jobs while simultaneously investing $80 billion into AI data centers. Their AI also now writes 30% of their code. Most organizations are looking to downsize. They're looking to do more with less people and flatten their structures, especially reducing those management and leadership layers. AI is shifting and will continue to shift a lot in the job market, but so much can't be predicted. And that does make it scary. But you can flip that fear into opportunity by taking a step back to think about how you structure your life, questioning assumptions and underlying beliefs that you didn't realize you'd made or that you still had. These questions I'm going to ask you today, they're probably not ones you would ask around your dinner table. So here's your chance to create space for them, especially while you have the power to shape what your work becomes. Question 1 is, what practices or changes could help you see the difference between what genuinely matters to you and what just feels urgent right now? And let me explain what I mean by this. We live in a world where everything feels important. Every email, every meeting, every deadline, it all has to happen now. Otherwise, disaster will strike, apparently. But there is a difference between what's genuinely significant for your life and what just feels pressing because someone or society has told you that it should be. And the issue is that the two have now become very much conflated, and they tend to become more conflated the busier we are. So think about it. What would help you step back and see clearly? And it doesn't have to be anything complex or hard to achieve. It literally could be as simple as turning off notifications for an hour each day, just to get that mental clarity. But that's just the first layer. The second question gets a bit more uncomfortable. Question 2 is, if AI could handle everything you do professionally right now, what would you choose to do with your time on Earth, and how would you define yourself? What would you do if machines could write better reports, analyze data faster, and even manage teams more efficiently than you can right now? So if AI could handle everything you do professionally, what would you choose to do with your time on Earth? And how would you define yourself? So the third question is where we think a bit more broadly, and I use this a lot with my clients to help them get that big picture thinking. So the question is, if your life was a book and your career was just one chapter in that book, what would all the other chapters be titled? Because most of us are stuck rereading the same chapter repeatedly. And can you guess the one it's called? It's the one called professional achievement or career success. But what about the other chapters? Perhaps the ones on relationships, on personal growth, on rest, on contribution and adventure? You can so easily find yourself slowly neglecting all those other chapters. So what would your other chapters be? The relationship chapter, perhaps, on how you show up for people you love. And in the last video, we spoke about forming and creating your relational wealth portfolio. The growth chapter on who you are becoming. You could have the service chapter, which looks at how you make things better for other people, or perhaps the joy chapter. And that would be about things that bring you alive. And something that I've pondered on is, if AI makes your career chapter shorter or different than you had planned, do you have enough other chapters to still have a meaningful story? To help you start putting all these insights from these questions into practice, I want to share a practical tool that I use in my own life and with my clients. And this tool is called Odyssey Planning. And it basically helps you create 3 different 5-year life plans. And these aren't backup plans. They're 3 equally valid futures. So if you watch any Marvel movies, the way I like to describe it to people is to think of it as 3 different metaverses in which you could legitimately exist, and they would all be valid and real. So the first path to think about is your current trajectory. This is a path where you think about what happens if you continue on your existing path, but you make it the best version that it could be. The second path is what you do if your current path suddenly disappeared. So like if AI was to completely disrupt your industry, for instance, or your company was to be impacted tomorrow, what would you pivot to? And so the third plan is called the game changer plan. And this is where you really start to think outside the box. And it's what you do if money wasn't an issue and nobody was judging you for any of your choices. And it's about uncovering what you actually care about when you strip away all the external pressures that we're constantly under. When I've used this for some of my clients, the beauty of the game changer plan is that they've discovered that there are aspects of it that they can actually start to incorporate now. They may have previously thought that this was a bit of a wild card, but they actually discover that there are elements of it that they could start implementing in their lives today. So it's so helpful to do. What makes this Odyssey planning tool especially helpful is it really expands your thinking. And research shows that people who generate multiple solutions to problems are more innovative and resilient than those who fixate on just getting one right answer. And to be honest, these are the exact skills that you need for the future, that we will all need for the future of work, which is quite unpredictable right now. Resilience, creativity, and being able to think expansively. So why not start practicing now with this Odyssey planning tool? Once you've developed your 3 plans, you then rate each one against 3 criteria. And I really do encourage you to do this step because it's incredibly helpful. And the 3 criteria are, do you have the resources to make the plan a reality? The second is, does the plan even excite you? And the third and final is, do you feel confident about it? And does it reflect the real you? Is it what you truly want? Each plan then becomes a prototype you can test. For instance, you can have conversations with people in the fields that you maybe want to go into, or you can try some small low-risk experiments like taking an online course, for instance, related to whatever the area is in your plan. And you can do all of this while you're keeping your current life intact. And that's the beauty of it. It's definitely for the risk averse. The 3 questions I've asked today, plus the Odyssey planning tool, they're designed to prepare your mind for what's coming. But if you haven't watched part 1 yet, where I show the 3 things to build before AI disrupts everything, I recommend you watch that next, and I'll put the link for that in the description box below. That part 1 shows you what to build beyond your career, but this video helps you think differently about who you are beyond your achievements. And together they're your preparation guide to helping you navigate AI disruption beyond just the economic impact, but the existential one too. So for now, pick one question in this video that hit you hardest, because that's probably the one you need the most. Then tell me in the comments which question you chose. Until next time, keep mastering what matters most.